This is the Cardinal Cowboy Show.
Giddy up! Woo!
Well, welcome, everyone. Here we are, the Cardinal Cowboy Show. Some more excitement. You know, we get to talk about fun stuff, and I always like to talk about real estate, property.
Oh, yeah.
And all the things that, the richest guys in the world have made their millions with.
Absolutely.
In studio today, everybody, give it up for my buddy, an excellent baseball player, along with one of the top realtors in the country. Welcome, Rob Hussey. Rob, how you doing here today?
Good. That intro, that's going to make me blush.
Is that right?
That was good. Yeah, we played some baseball together.
Well, you played some LSU. Is that right? You guys are.
Well, you know, we played college ball at Lindenwood.
Okay.
And so of course we were on the tribe together that we played on the men's team. So we had a good time with that.
Yeah. So I know you got some good looks, and boy, who knows? But God had a different plan for me and for you too, I guess.
Right.
And so now we get to kind of share that with the audience in the world here. Mm-hmm. Right on the screen behind us, we've already got one of the beautiful properties. This is a pretty incredible place you've got here. How many acres is this one up here?
So this is just a little bit over 76 acres. It's located in Callaway County, which is a little over an hour from here, about 15 minutes south of 70 in Williamsburg there. And it's just an incredible piece of land that sits out there. I know with the whole COVID thing, people were looking to get out of the city and go to their lake place or their country place, and man, I sure would have liked to get my hands on this one. But it's a little over 76 acres. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. The home itself is a little over 1,700 square feet. It's got a finished basement, so this is about 3,300 square feet total. Our home is about 15 years old. There is a little lake, a little pond that you see sitting on there, and that is stocked. That's approximately about 2 acres. And the cool thing about this is it's got the home, it's got a 2-car detached garage, and then also it's got a separate pole barn as well. That's 30 by 24. So it's got a lot of space out there if you just want to get away, ride a 4-wheeler, if you want to just mess around, do some fishing, hunting. Every time I've been out there once or twice and see plenty of wildlife along the way. So absolutely beautiful piece of property.
Well, let's take a little look at it here on the backdrop here. We've got the full screen picture of it here, and we can share some of the images. I guess if we click on these, this will show the images we've got. And I'm going to go ahead and send this over to our live screen here so you can guys see the screen captured live for us. But tell us what you think about this. This is pretty cool. And now and our mic is live. We fixed our little, got both mics going still. So everybody sees the screen on in front of us now, and then we'll go through these images. If you like, Rob, tell everybody a little bit about what they're looking at here.
Yeah, so this one here, I mean, it's obviously a drone footage here. I got the camera up about 100 feet in the air and just kind of got a picture of a beautiful sunset there. It looks off into the horizon from the house, and it's kind of a gentle rolling hill area out there. Like I said, beautiful piece of property.
All right, and next image, a couple of pieces of...
Yep, that's just a closer picture of the house there, the detached garage. It's oversized 2-car garage. Again, you can kind of see the beautiful sunset in the background.
Cool. Moving right along here, some more shots of the aerial stuff to look at there. Pretty cool. Good scenery here.
And so the property itself, I mean, it's about half wooded, about half open field, so there's plenty of uses you can do with that.
Beautiful. And another shot here, some more of the actual hospitality quarters there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that just a different angle from the same building, or is that another building?
That's the same building, same house. It's got a walkout basement, which makes it nice, and it really makes that usable space downstairs. Like I said, total of about 3,300 square feet of living space.
Nice, okay. And moving right along here, then, we got this backside of that. Looks a little bigger than I thought. Man, that's got a nice little deck there.
Yeah, it's got a deck. It's got the deck. There's the walkout basement there, and good size home.
Cool. And as we scroll there, a little distant aerial shot, you can see. How many acres did you say the whole property is?
It's actually 76.2 acres is what it is, and you can walk around it. I showed a client that property not too long ago. It was a little chilly out, but but we walked the property, and it's just nice to be able to be out in nature and get away from things, and that's exactly what this property allows you to do, is kind of disconnect.
Absolutely. Cool. Another aerial shot there from distance, and then some more property shots. But yeah, I mean, this is just, if you like to have a little bit of your own space, this is the kind of place You will want, how many square feet did you say the whole thing is?
So the main floor is just a little bit under 1,700 square feet and a little over 3,300 square feet total is the space, including the finished part of the basement.
Beautiful scenery, beautiful scenic shots here. You've got a nice camera guy that took a lot of pictures here. He looks like he knows what he's doing too.
Yeah, he's done it once or twice.
Cool. All right, well, tell me, what of all the benefits to this particular property, what do you think stands out most in your mind for what you're getting here?
Well, I think, you know, for the most part, you know, if you want a place that you can get away that's close for the weekend, this is certainly it. Like I said, it's a little over an hour drive from here to get to the place, and you know, the price, which I don't think I mentioned right now, it's $449,900 is where we have it priced, which for 76 acres, so close, that's an excellent price point. When we did our comp analysis on the property, we priced it competitively to all the others that have sold in the area.
Okay. So there's a beautiful property. Now, you have a number of listings out there. This is one you wanted to highlight.
Correct.
Tell me, what's so special? I mean, this is the latest thing. Is this because the COVID stuff's going on? What is it that brought this one to attention for you?
Yeah, so it was just, I mean, everybody's used to looking at the homes, and this is kind of a unique piece of property that you don't see come up too often.
Right.
You know, it's not in a subdivision, it's not in the city. It's a nice country place to get away to.
Yeah, well, if you compare it to every other subdivision, it seems like everybody's pretty cookie cutter. This is far outside of the cookie cutter design. You've got tons of time. The next neighbor you may have here is 7 or 8 miles away, maybe.
Yeah, and you know, it's located back on a gravel road, and so it's really private, and not too many people are back that way, which really makes it nice.
Okay. Could you put a baseball field out here? And
I think we could pull that off.
Maybe
one or two.
Sure, you and I could hit a couple home runs, maybe.
That's right.
I don't know if they extend. You could have a 600-foot fence out on the field you got here with such an establishment here. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, for us to hit it over, I think we may have to move the fence in about 100 feet.
Move the fence in just a little bit for us guys who haven't quite got the long balls. Like, I was never much of a long. I ruined my swing when I thought I hit a couple home runs, and then I was like, all right, now I can hit a whole lot of home runs. And then I kept swinging for home runs.
Oh yeah.
Dropped the average a number of points from where it was. Okay, cool one. We have some other stuff to share. Tell us where you want to go next with most of what you got. I've got your website here to show everybody too, if that's a good place for us to start, because you do have a top-notch looking website. I'll go ahead and zoom us out. We're zoomed in on us on the tight camera shot. But here's a shot. You've got aerials and a bunch of rotating slides.
Yeah.
How long have you guys been in business now?
So we've been in business a little over a decade now. I've been doing real estate for, I guess, about 12 years now.
Started when you were 14,
so,
I guess.
Right, exactly. Thank you. I age well. But, you know, we've sold hundreds of properties, anything from, you know, your investment property that would be a rental to, you know, a country place like this. Really, we've just actually expanded our team to the Kansas City area.
Right.
So now we have an agent and probably another one coming on over there that'll help you for any of your Kansas City needs as well.
Okay, so you got the whole state of Missouri covered.
Yeah.
Do some stuff down at the lake.
We've done some stuff down at the lake. We got a lady who we partner with that knows the area really well, and we just did a condo there this past summer that people were really excited about, and I was excited for them, and I can't wait till I get mine. So I got to sell a few more houses. Well,
tell me a little bit. You do. How many agents do you have working for you now?
So we have.
You're a brokerage, right?
Yeah, we have 13 licensed agents, and we're not your typical brokerage. We run our brokerage more like a team. So when you hire us, you're just not hiring that one realtor that you would get at your typical office. You're actually hiring 13 of us. Which obviously 13 ears to the ground and 13 people marketing your property is definitely beneficial as opposed to one.
Yeah, well, I've been to your facility, and you've got quite the setup. I mean, you've got, I guess what I'd have to say, some of the expertise that you bring to the table, a lot of people don't realize, is you know the mortgage side of the world real well.
Yes.
You know you're a councilman also, right?
Yeah, so you know,
to give people that advantage, you know what's going on, where the roads are going to be, and all the big changes that it really impact the value of a property. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I've kind of been in real estate all my life, in some form or another. Of course, I own the brokerage now and help people buy, sell, and invest in property. We do both residential and commercial property and some land development. Another thing that I have a background in is, well, not many people know this, but I used to actually be a building inspector. So when I go to show a property, I'm looking at it with a different eye than most agents are. And then also, I have a mortgage license as well. And so, having that whole kind of sphere of, and not to mention the alderman gig, right?
Right, yeah. Well, okay, I called it a councilman, but you're actually an alderman.
Alderman, yeah.
It's even
yeah.
more powerful, I believe.
Right. And so,
Okay.
The good thing about that is you understand zoning and you understand how cities work. So if you're buying on the fringe area, a lot of realtors think that field behind the house that they're building for the new construction is always going to be a field, and that's just not the case. You have to figure out the zoning, and is that common ground back there? That is probably my number one complaint as an alderman is people move to the city, they have this beautiful open field or wooded area behind them, and then they sell their property, and all of a sudden another neighborhood is coming in behind them, and they're like, well, I thought I bought this premium lot. Well, that's just not the case sometimes.
Right.
So you have to have a realtor that knows what that area is going to be in the future. And also roadways, future plans for roadways. I was shown a property one time, and beautiful open field in the back of the property, and I said, well, that's actually planned to be a pretty busy roadway at some point in the future. And they're like, oh my goodness, we would never buy this house. And again, you have to be in the know of developing cities when you're advising like that.
Well, yeah, important stuff for most people that they realize that there's a beautiful house that they're interested in. There's obviously some excitement to become a new homeowner. I've done it twice now myself. And then when you find out, like, for instance, I was fortunate to have enough, I guess, luck just to say, because I knew the page extension was going right in behind here.
Right.
But my contention was, what are you doing with this berm or whatever's happening here that I'm right next to the road?
Exactly.
And had I not, let's say the page extension hadn't been built just yet,
Yeah.
then I'd be like, oh, cool, rolling hills and could go
Yes,
all the way up.
exactly.
Next highway I've got to worry about is Highway 70. Not the case, man.
Yeah, no.
This page extension is right. I tried to argue. I'm like, can I get a discount because that's going to make some noise? They're like, we got a berm and you got a premium spot.
Right.
And I was like, but if you don't know those kinds of things, that's the insightful stuff that being an alderman, you get to help people foresee that can have an impact on the value of their house.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Okay. So tell us, what's the most exciting stuff going on within our St. Charles area? I mean, somebody's kind of on the edge, the growing area out there at Wentzville and now Warrenton, or Warren County, I guess
Right.
it's Warrenton.
Right.
Tell us what's the excitement that we should be ready for, and how can Expert Realty do better to help serve those people?
Well, I think, the big thing is now that inventory is in such low supply, and it has been. People can sell their houses quickly, but of course that means they have to find a house quickly. And there's different strategies you can use to help do that. And I don't want to give those away and give those to any of my competitors. But the cool thing about Wentzville is it is a fast-growing area, and it seems like every alderman meeting we're approving a new subdivision, and that's because of the low inventory supply. A lot of people think that they can go into a builder and just essentially say, hey, builder, I want to build a house, and not have any realtor representation. And sometimes that proves to be fatal down the road because, again, that farm field behind you may not be a farm field any longer, or that premium lot may not be so premium. But the big thing in Wentzville is, we're growing fast. We're building new roadways. We're actually building a new exit ramp on Interstate 70 there. So be looking forward to that opening hopefully later this year and help take some of that traffic off Wentzville Parkway.
Well, that seems like of the places to live in St. Louis, that's where everything is moving to right now. If you're going to build into an area where there's the convergence of all the highways. Now you've got 364, 40, 70, all kind of conglomerate. Is that the right word?
That's right.
Out there.
Coming together
That's my
out there.
$5 word for the day. Out there, out west, and boy, you can get to just about anywhere in St. Louis. We had Mike Elam on. You know Mike, I think.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And he is a councilman. He's the chair of the St. Charles County Councilman. And he talked about how that page extension really came together really, really effectively for, I think it was $118 million. I don't know if that's a lot or a little. It sounds like that's not near as much as they spent on Busch Stadium. But you really, he said, the convergence of those roads really makes so you can travel across and get anywhere you need to be in St. Charles County relatively quickly. So that's a matter of, having the right real estate person in place for you, a guy who's been around doing this for has their hand on the pulse, if you will. There's a pulse of the community to figure out where the hot spots are, what subdivisions are
absolutely
on the right side of the roads and the highways? Because I mean, boy, they put together the Page extension out here super fast. How much of an impact did that have on the houses and the property values that went on out there?
Well, I think, it kind of took that central area in the county and really made it easy access, especially over St. Louis County. I mean, I remember when I was in my younger days, pretty much if you wanted to come out to St. Charles County, you had Interstate 70 bridge, and then you had the 4061 bridge that had the stoplights that would change depending on what time of day it was. 2 lanes went this way and 1 lane went this way, and boy, a lot has changed over the years with now 370 and 364 and the bridges coming over from St. Louis County. So
Yeah, well, by the time they take the time to figure out all of those things, and it just seems like they can put a highway together in minutes, it does impact what's going on in our community.
Absolutely.
What do you like most about the fact that I know as a sports guy and somebody myself who's played lots of competitive sports, I played for the Monsters over here at the Family Arena. That was a lot of excitement. St. Louis is a sports city, if you will, and
Yes.
we don't have football any longer, but unless you got the Battlehawks, and they will be back. But you've got Blues, and then obviously the Cardinals.
Yeah.
And so how much of an impact does it have on the community to say, hey, yeah, you're on the Page extension, and for instance, I can be downtown at Busch Stadium in about 26 minutes.
Oh, absolutely.
From where I'm at here. Talk about the correspondence with that, with regard to getting downtown, seeing the different parts of St. Louis. You got the zoo is one of the top zoos in the country, if not the world. Forest Park.
Right.
Then the planetarium. Or what's the place where they got the elliptical building?
You talking Science Center?
Science Center, right. You got to have
yeah.
the Science Center. Tell us about how easy it is to get downtown and around the parts of St. Louis from these areas where you sell most of your homes. Or where do you sell most of your stuff?
So most of our stuff is St. Charles County and western St. Louis County, but we have a listing down in South City right now. We've done North County. The furthest south that we've gone was Fredericktown, if you know where that's at.
Tell everybody where that is, just to make sure.
So if you go down 55 and then go down 67, and it's probably about an hour 45 minutes. From
okay.
Here. So
you're on your way to
another
Cape,
farm type property. Right.
Cape
Well, yeah, kind of down that way.
Cape Girardeau, on your
Right,
way there, I guess
right.
that's to say, not quite there, but.
Right, and so really we service the whole region, and our agents live in different areas. For instance, in Kansas City, I have an agent that lives over there, and so Jessica knows the Kansas City area really well, and so she handles that. I have the agent, Krista. She lives down in High Ridge, and she knows that area real well. So I think it's really smart the way we planned out where our team recruits live, so to say, so they're specialists in those areas. But really the entire metro area is what we serve.
Okay, well, like I say, as a matter of becoming an expert in the community and knowing what's going on, it doesn't hurt, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't hurt to have an alderman on your team to make sure. And so, I know you represent the region you represent, but the other guys in the other regions too.
Sure.
I'm trying to think about how many other. I'm going to talk to some of my other real estate buddies and say, hey guys, we got to make buddies with some of the aldermen out here. That's how you're going to keep on top of what's going on in your community.
Well, it's key, especially when let's say you're in St. Louis County or any one of those municipalities and you're selling a house. Now, when you get over on that side of the river, a lot of those smaller cities, they require occupancy inspections on a sale of a property. And one of the things that, I used to be one of those building inspectors. So, having me there during that occupancy inspection, I pretty much know the rules. So,
right.
so the building inspector can't pull any funny business. And that's one of the first conversations I have with that building inspector. It's like, oh, how long you been doing this? And I say, oh, yeah, I used to do that back in the day for the city of Brentwood. And so I build that relationship with them real quick. And so it's definitely beneficial for the sellers over in that area.
Well, that's key. I think a lot of people understand you want to have an expert and just not somebody says, hey, I'm Bobby, Realtor, and I want to show you this house. Oh, does it have plumbing? Is it electricity?
Right.
Who's inspector? I'll tell you some of the excitement I had when I was building this house. I don't know if I'm going to get myself in any trouble here, but moving my hot tub from my old house. We got a crane. They lifted onto the back of a office Home Depot truck that I rented. Drove it up in the snow. I was kind of glad it did snow because I wasn't going to go much faster than 30 miles an hour anyway because it was so snowing. I could get away with driving so slow. We get it here, and they lift this thing up, put it up on the deck that I had built, and they go, "Where's the permit for this deck?"
Oh, whoops!
And I broke out my old permit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And he's like, "Looks good enough to me.
Right.
Leave it on top. Otherwise, he was going to have me set it on the ground, and then I was going to have to pay $1,000 again to get a crane to come back out and put it back up on on the deck.
Right.
And but I tell you, if you don't have your ducks on a row, you might have been able to speculate what was going to happen to me.
Right,
there.
exactly. I'll tell you what, man.
Tell me some crazy stories you've seen.
Well, those hot tubs, they're heavier than you think they are.
Oh, yeah.
And so I helped a couple buy a house up in Troy, and they were an older couple and didn't want the hot tub that was there, and the seller didn't want it either. And so I gladly said, hey, I'll take it off your hands.
Right.
And so I go over there with a few buddies thinking we're going to move this thing. No. I mean, we drained it and we couldn't budge it.
Really?
We couldn't even budget a little bit. So basically, I got a hot tub for the cost of moving it, which is not bad.
Okay.
Not a bad deal.
And did it work out? Is that thing working for you?
Yeah, it worked out. It worked out.
Did you
Yeah.
pay somebody to lift it then and put it back where you?
Yeah,
needed
and
to work
they
function
did it
for
like pros. There's 4 guys, and they made it look easy. And I'm like, well, geez, why couldn't I do that?
you? Years of expertise.
That's
will help
right.
provide that.
There's some things I'm an expert in, and there's some things I'm not. I know what I know what I don't, and I know the difference between the two.
Absolutely. Tell me, what do you think some of the benefits of having a team? When you've got 13 agents
Mm-hmm.
and they all kind of work together, you have, I guess you get a very diverse audience there, or a support team there that
Yeah.
helps people to understand. Give me some of the benefits that really brings to somebody. Because a lot of people, I know that like they're part of a team,
Yeah.
but they're part of some big agency.
Right.
Or they're part of a team, but it's really just them and a couple people.
Sure.
And they're just kind of running their own little things. What are some of the advantages you help people there with that can help them to get their house sold for, most efficiently?
Yeah. So again, when you're working with a team of 13, there's 13 of those agents that have their buyer contacts that they're basically working with. A lot of the stuff that we list, we sell it really quickly because we may already have a buyer for that property.
Yeah, big pool to start with there.
Absolutely. And so, that's one thing that is key. Now, obviously, we want to put it out there on the market because we want everybody else to have that opportunity as well. But a lot of times our homes sell, especially nowadays, like that. So it's not uncommon to have 10 offers on that house in the first couple of days.
10 offers in a couple days.
Yeah.
How often these days are you seeing houses that go over list, and they say now's your battle and they're going up $1,000 a pop or more? Or how much over list do they go off?
Well, I tell you what, you got to be really careful on your pricing strategy because you want to get it right the first time. And so in this market, since it is so competitive, people want to overprice. And I think that's really detrimental. If you price it correctly, what you're going to do, especially in this market, is create a bidding war. So you're going to get multiple offers, and you're going to be able to get them to compete against each other, which will artificially drive that price up to where it is. To whereas if you set it high at first, there might not be but one offer, and then what do you have for that, right? You don't have any competition.
Right.
And that's what you really want when you list a house, is you want competition between buyers.
Okay, and that's an interesting strategy with regard to kind of the psychology that goes along there.
Mm-hmm.
That if you start off with just one price, it's too high for anybody to come in altogether. Then how do you end up creating that competition? It's almost as perceived, oh, well, these guys are off and there's nobody really interested in that.
Well, exactly.
Because
yeah.
but it's easier, it's better, more efficient for the buyer to say, oh, we got it at $345, but these guys just came in and said they'll do it for $350.
Right.
What's your offer?
Well, and that's exactly it.
And that's what drives it.
That's exactly it, because you look at a house that's, if a house has been on the market 2 or 3 weeks in this market, people are like, well, what's wrong with it, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
And you look at the level, and we look at our pipeline and what business we have coming in the future, and our sellers list is here, and our buyers list is up here. So there's far more buyers right now than there are sellers in the market, and I think that has to do with a combination of factors, but that's just what we're dealing with.
Well, tell me a little bit about that. And has it been this good, this long? I mean, people now are talking about that you can't keep houses on the line too long; they're going to get eaten up pretty quickly. But how long has it been this much of a seller's market? Lots of buyers.
Well, it's been a couple of years since we've had relatively low inventory, and then you couple that with lower interest rates,
Right.
and people want to upgrade that house,
Right.
Because now they can say, hey, I could sell my $200,000 house and get this, $300,000 house for maybe just a little bit more in the payment because interest rates have fallen so much. A lot of people are fearing kind of a bubble right now. Is this the next real estate bubble? Is the market going to crash after this? And I really don't think that's the case. And I think the difference between what we saw back in 2008 and now is the amount of equity people have in their property. People have considerable equity now, whereas back then they didn't. So that's what happened is a lot of loans that were made for darn near asking price, and then when values dropped, all of a sudden a bunch of people were underwater. But with the appreciation that we've had over the last couple of years, there's there's just too much equity for people to walk away and have a big foreclosure boom.
Well, that seems to me, is that kind of what drove the price of these houses, that they were, drove the problem that we had when we had the crash in 2008, 2009. Nobody had any equity. They were buying houses. They were giving houses to just about anybody, even if they didn't qualify.
Yeah, I mean,
what was the real issue there, and how are we going to avert that going forward here?
Now, I wasn't involved on the mortgage side of things back then, but, you hear stories of what they called stated income loans. So basically people said, oh, yeah, I make $100,000. Okay, you got a loan. Congratulations. Well, that's a problem, right? Now, whether that happened or not, who knows, right? But, there was some looser lending practices that occurred back then that have been tightened up since then. So the people who are buying and who have bought over the last handful of years are qualified. And again, they have that equity there, so they're just not going to walk away from $30,000, $40,000 in equity and let the house go into foreclosure.
Well, that's where we had the issues prior, right? And where it was not a buyer's market for anybody, and everything went upside down. The equity was lost, and it caused a big crash within our economy. Something that we don't want to see happen again. But you think we're in a much better position these days because they have essentially made the buying process a little more difficult. They're a little more picky about who can get.
A little bit more stringent.
A little stringent, and so now people are getting to where they have a lot more equity in the property.
Correct.
So I've been fortunate here. I've got a decent amount of equity here, and so then if I were to downsize or pull out some of the equity, I still would. It's kind of the rule 80-20. If you've got 80%, you want to always keep your amount of equity that what you owe less than 80%, your equity above 20%?
Well, it depends. I mean, that's obviously going to get you a better interest rate, but at the end of the day, you can get a conventional loan right now with 3.5% down, which is pretty good. And so a lot of people think, well, I need to have 20% down, and that's just not the case. There are some 100% financing options that are out there, but those are specialty loans. Like if you're a veteran, you can get a VA loan that finances 100% of the purchase. If you're more in the rural areas outside of Wentzville used to be in it, but now they changed the boundaries. But you can get a USDA loan, which is rural housing loans.
Right. So USDA. I know will help people to get into it. And those 0% down and.
Yeah.
Some of the benefits there?
Yeah. So basically, those are good for your first-time home buyers. Those I call them kids now, but those people who are maybe in their mid to early 20s who want to buy their first house. You can go up in Troy area or down south Arnold or even out west towards like Wright City and get houses that are still reasonably priced for those first-time young home buyers. And again, you can use those USDA loans there too, which are 100% financing.
And that's a government-backed loan that, without having to put anything down,
right?
That saves some people saying, I never forget, I'm admitting something here might get me in trouble, but I called my dad. I go, Dad, I'm supposed to have $4,000 to put down on this house to walk into my house right now. What should I do? He's like, well, I don't know. You better find $4,000.
You better come up.
But he came up with it. I think I paid them back for that. But that's a tough situation these days, and to come up with that, on every $100,000, if it was just a $200,000 house, that's $7,000 you got to come up with.
Oh yeah.
And for many people, that's a big chunk. That's a few months' paychecks.
It really is, especially if you're young in the market and you just maybe have been working full time in a career that you've only been doing 1 or 2 years, right? How much time do you have to save up money? So those are some good options for some younger buyers.
Well, good stuff. Well, I can tell you, as an expert who's been around a while and on the inside, as an alderman who keeps in touch with what's really going on within the community, it's kind of exciting. Let's take a quick trip, if you will, with me here. Behind us, I'm going to put up, if I can, we'll stop by Busch Stadium. So we've moved our office magically. We're outside of Busch Stadium right now. And I'm trying to think of the best way to tie this into Realty. But you talk about a piece of real estate. This thing here.
Oh, yeah.
And does it help to have a house that's not too far from a facility, like we talked about a little bit earlier, when people can say, oh yeah, and scenically located, 25-minute drive from Busch Stadium. Does that help some people?
Yeah.
I know people are buying those apartments. I got to visit one of the apartments right there in Cardinal Way.
Oh yeah.
Those guys are right on top of what's going on there.
Exactly.
But they're paying as much for their apartment as these people are paying for their houses.
Right.
I think I would drive the 25 minutes to do that. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, now that you touched on that point, the rental market is also a strong market right now. Usually you have a rental market or a sales market that's strong, one or the other, and right now you have both. Again, just the low inventory.
Right.
A lot of people are just renewing their leases because they can't find a place. But being close to Busch Stadium, definitely in my younger days, I would have definitely liked that. I had a couple friends who lived there on the hill in South City, and so we would always go to the stadium, maybe have a good time afterwards, and then just crash at the house on the hill there. So that was always fun.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. It's not too much further. The hill's still 10 or 15 minute drive.
Oh, it's like it's pretty close.
And then,
right?
but we're 25 minutes away from out here. 30 if you go a little bit further out, 70.
Right.
And it just seems to me, I know some people that drive in from Evansville and Indiana, Indiana and Southern Illinois, Marion, just to come see the Cardinals play.
Oh yeah.
Heck, some of these people buy these houses and turn them into an Airbnb and say, hey,
that's
located
possible.
25 minutes from downtown St. Louis.
That's possible.
Check it out.
That's very possible. And also in the investment world, you got to be careful because there's a lot of municipalities out there that are restricting those short-term rentals is what they call it. So if you're looking to get in the Airbnb, definitely contact me and I'll know what areas you should be in and should not be in.
And how much do you know about that Airbnb industry? I mean, that is something that has kind of taken off, but now it's been kind of hit with COVID and everything else that's going on.
I've known
is that part of the rules, or why do they have those rules in place now?
Yeah, so the idea behind it is, and why some municipalities don't like it is because it brings in short-term, a lot of times party people, right, that are staying up late and disturbing the neighbors, which I could see that viewpoint, but also I'm a big property rights guy, and so you know what, if you want to, my personal feeling is if you want to turn your house into an Airbnb or a rental or whatever, you should be able to do that. That's your house and that's your right. But municipalities have found ways to restrict that, unfortunately.
And what's the strategy with that? I mean, why are they saying, hey, we don't want people renting short-term stuff. We don't want people to make extra money out of their facility to do that. Is there what's the idea behind it? Is it the party atmosphere they're worried about?
Well, I think like when
people coming in and out they don't know, or what's the real issue with that?
So when I'll go down, we'll go down to Destin and we'll go down there and say rent a beach house, right, a short-term rental, and you know, we like to stay up on the back patio and we like to talk and we like to have a beer or two and we like to stay up a little later. And so I think when you're out of town, you're more apt to be a little bit more loud, if you will, right?
Okay.
And so municipalities don't want to deal with the calls from neighbors about peace disturbances, and so that's what they're trying to avoid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, get yourself a house that Rob can hook you up with where you're still 25 minutes away. You can get downtown pretty quickly, and you'll have saved enough money. You don't need to have part-time renters because you get a property that's got an incredible value to start with. Another bit of excitement that is part of what we do here in St. Louis, and these guys brought the excitement not too long ago with a Stanley Cup, if you will. But our next slide is, here's inside of Busch Stadium, so get a view of what you got there with the excitement. And that's a packed house. We hope to have that coming up.
I sure hope so.
Real soon here again, right? And there it is. So there's the Enterprise Center. There's a picture of that Stanley Cup. Again, so Busch Stadium is 7 blocks away from the Enterprise Center, they call that now. Blues fans, how many people have you sold a house to? They're not just Cardinals fans, but they're Blues fans. How many people are Blues fans but not Cardinal fans? Does that happen too often?
Is that possible?
Is that possible?
I don't know. I don't know.
I
would think not, but I'm sure there's one or two out there.
You would hope not. But another caveat to it, if you can get downtown to go to a Cardinals game, now you can get downtown within minutes. I used to work for Anheuser-Busch, and we would drive all the way, when I moved to St. Charles, I lived in Fenton originally, but we'd drive all the way through downtown, down Highway 70, and come back out to Broadway or 7th Street exit right there and go to Busch. Then they had us down at One City Center, and then they had us out at Sunset Hills, which would have been really close to where I was living in Fenton. But all of those, I kind of base my life a little bit about what's going on with these guys, with the Cardinals and the Blues. Towelman's been in our studio here, and we got a little bit of excitement. Towelman has been in some of the games now. They've been letting a short list of fans in.
Okay, is that what they're doing? Is limited the seats?
Right, they've got, I think, about 1,200 seats where people get in on that. And I seen the Towelman there. I talked to one of my friends. She does ticket stuff for the Blues, and she said, "Oh yeah, the Towelman's been in the game." Yeah. So we're looking forward to some spring training. Any excitement? Are you going to play ball again this year?
I am. I just heard that pitchers and catchers are reporting right now.
Oh, so you're going to go down with the Cardinals?
Well, I wish. I'm not that good. But yeah, I'm gonna play ball again this year, and so last year I played on two teams, the 30 and up and the 40 and up. Not to give away my age, but you know, I thought I was pretty darn good in the 40 and up. The 30 and up, I think I was kind of average, and so 10 years really makes a difference.
Well, I will argue with you that is true. And as somebody who we played on the same team. I ended up being the batting champ that year, if you recall. That was fun.
Yeah.
And hit 523. I was like, all right, finally got back to my olden ways.
I think I was 522.
You were just, I beat
remember
you up by
right.
one or two at bats, I think is what it was, what it came down to. But just that, the difference between the 30s and the 40s, I think the 40s you can have, is it 45 and up? Or
40 and up.
40 and up, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And they can have kids that are in their 20s, or I know it's at least you can have one players in the 30s or one player in the 40s, or did they do away with that rule?
You know, I think they did away with that rule.
Okay.
Because I look at the guys on our 40 and up team, and we're pretty much all over 40, if I had to guess.
You're taking a look at the guys you got there. Well, that's a good point. And the point I was making there was back when I was playing, and it was 30 and up and 40 and up. I was in the 30 and up. Mm-hmm. Or maybe I guess it was 40 and up. No,
I think at one point it was 25 and up, too.
Okay.
Or some.
I guess it was 35 and up. But they could still have one player. It was always the ace pitcher that they would pull in. They would throw low 80s, low 90s sometimes, and would bring that guy in. But he was technically, according to the rules, he could play. But they're not allowing for that anymore. So that makes it a little.
I don't think so.
It's not as difficult now when you're facing those kinds of guys still throwing at you. All right. Okay, cool stuff, Rob. Yeah. Well, we appreciate you coming on the show. Anytime you want to come here, share a little bit about your properties. We'll go ahead and put that property up one more time for everybody to take a look at. We've been on now for about 40 minutes. Hopefully everybody's enjoying our show. Check out our scenic shot there. This is a shot of Busch Stadium, as we've got behind us. And take a look here outside of Busch. But more than that, take a look at these properties and what Rob has. Here's his website for his business, and then here are these. This is that one property in particular you wanted to show off. So this is at 7113 County Road,
155, and that's
Williamsburg, Missouri. Okay,
Yep.
Doesn't seem like it's that far away, but I guess 15-minute, 20-minute drive from where we're at right now.
Well, it's an hour drive from where we're at now.
That's what you said,
45 minutes out Interstate 70, and then about 15 minutes south of that, off the highway.
We'll take a look at that for a second, everybody. We hope everybody does appreciate some of the cool stuff going on in our community and the guys that get to bring it to us. And so Rob Hussey here, Expert Realty. That is www.expertrealty.com. For those who missed that, I'm going to switch up that site to show you there. There it is, expertrealty.com, or is it expertrealtorco.com, or
it's
you go to
expert.realtor.
And now you bought that .realtor domain.
Correct.
That's right.
Yeah,
so
it's
if that's easier for you guys, check out, remember, expert.realtor.
Yep. It's an easy way to get there.
So I want to get that straight for everybody. So there it is on the wall for you guys on the screen, what you guys are looking at right now. We'll go ahead and bring that up here on the wall for us behind us. So this is our beautiful TV wall here in the Cardinal Cowboy studio. This is our 11-foot by 7-foot. This TV wall is about a foot taller than me, about a foot and a half taller than me. Maybe less than that for you, but there it is. Check out 636-329-4100. Talk to Rob directly, and he's got a team of 13 realtors that can help you guys at any time to get the best house you would love here all over the St. Louis area, from Frederickston to St. Charles.
Fredericktown to North County to St. Charles, downtown, the lake, and now even in Kansas City.
Kansas City.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Check it out. Stay tuned, and give Rob a call if you're looking for a house anywhere in the St. Louis metro area and over to Kansas City to the Lake of the Ozarks. All right, everybody. Thanks again. Stay tuned. This is the Cardinal Cowboy Show.
Thank you, sir.
Giddy up.
This is the Cardinal Cowboy Show.
Giddy up!